Well, if you've ever walked with someone through the journey of dementia or call it an alternate mental state, my next author has written a book that you're definitely going to want to read. His name is Adam Guest, and he wrote the book called Worldlines. He talks about basically how what we experience in these alternate states is very real to that person. So I want to welcome Adam Guest. Thank you for being here today.
Hi, Suzanne. Thank you for having me on the show.
Adam, let's talk about this is such a deep subject, and it just has layer after layer of thinking about dementia and Alzheimer's and being in alternative states. What, first of all, inspired you to write this book?
So this began with the journey we went through as a family. My grandmother was going through a battle with vascular dementia, and it became increasingly difficult to communicate with her and to be able to comprehend what she was experiencing. But it struck me because the frustration was there on both sides, and it felt as though her reality had just become so as incomprehensible to us as ours had to her. And she told me a story. Or I'm going to tell you a story about what she
please
said.
do.
We were in our house, and she's got a photo on the mantelpiece of her own father. He died when she was 6. He died of tuberculosis. And about a year before Nan passed, she pointed out this photo, and she said, "That's my dad on there, that is." I said, "Yeah, I know, Nan." And she went, "He set me on fire as a child." And that's something that, and I'm like, okay, so what's brought this about? And I spoke to my mum about it, and we discovered that actually her dad had set fire to the bed when he was but by accident, of course. Nan had no injury, she had no burns, but somehow in her reality now she's remembering this in a different way. And what she said, she meant it. You could see in her eyes that she was remembering something that to her was real, but we couldn't comprehend it from here. And it led me to believe that maybe she's experiencing something that is as valid as what we experience on a day-to-day basis. We just can't understand it.
Adam, the closest that I can understand is to think of this in the way of dreams, that a seed will plant and will have a dream that you go, oh, I think it's because of that, but it really doesn't have much to do with it. Is this kind of the alternate state that you're talking about?
It is. So we're talking about, dreams is a good point because, I can recall my dreams. Do you recall your own dreams?
I do. Yeah.
And so when you recall dreams, you'll know that at the moment when you're living that dream in your sleep, the dream will lack continuity, but you won't realize that while you're asleep, and you'll wake up the next morning and you'll think, hang on a minute, that didn't make any sense.
Right.
But at any given moment, you get perfect clarity within the dream itself. And to me, that suggests something that, if you take Nan's hallucinations and our own dreams, where is our consciousness going at that point? Are they seeing alternative ways of life, alternative worldlines, as the book is called?
So basically what you're saying is that it's happening in their mind with dementia or this alternate state. It's very real to them just because that's not our reality, it's their reality. And we need to think about that, not discount it.
Yeah, just because we don't understand it doesn't invalidate it or make it unreal. And if you take, for example, the idea of our life choices and you've seen the film The Butterfly Effect.
Sure.
Where you have multiple choices and they go off on different tangents, and your life evolves in a different way based on the choices that we make.
Right.
The book hypothesizes that when we sleep and in our moments of, shall we say, unconsciousness, when we're daydreaming or when we're asleep or when we're suffering a form of hallucination, that's where our consciousness is going. That's what we're seeing. We're drifting through those various world lines that make sense in the moment, but lack any continuity when we view them in a linear form when we're awake.
All right, let's see your book again. Let's see the cover of the book.
There it is. Worldlines.
It is. It's got this darker tone to the front. And I have to move right into the idea of crime, because this one, you had said something to me one time about the book, and I can't stop thinking about it. You said, What if your body committed a crime that your mind didn't?
Yeah.
You know?
So that's around again with dreaming. And dreams do play a big part in the book. There's a skill called lucid dreaming, where you can train yourself to become aware that you're asleep and potentially take control of your own dreams. This book speculates that when we do that, we're effectively controlling ourselves in another one of those world lines. And we become susceptible to that when we're not fully paying attention. So within the book, we have a character who has learned to lucid dream. During that lucid dream, he commits a crime. And he wakes up and he doesn't think anything of it because it's just a dream. And
it's a dream. Yeah.
But then he has a relative with dementia who then describes that crime back to him as a witness. So the rest of her family believe that she's hallucinating. But the main character goes, actually, I know exactly what you're talking about because I did that in my dream. And he then has to try and rip apart the fabric of reality to try and understand what's happened. Has he really committed a crime? Is there a real victim? And is there a real perpetrator about to stand trial for something that they didn't do? The flip side to that is that character is then in the other world line dealing with the consequences of a crime he didn't commit. And that's all represented in the cover. So the book runs on 4 different lines, and each of the faces on the book represents one of those colours. And if you look very closely, you'll be able to see there's a multicoloured map at the top. Which shows the world line map, which is effectively like a river with various tributaries coming off. As we, each branch of that tributary is our life choices and us going off on different paths.
And let's talk about it being part of a series.
It is. So this sets the groundwork, and we are going to explore different areas of our consciousness as we go through the series. So later on in the series, there's going to be a book that speaks about some of the things that children say. We hear a lot of young children who say things that are kind of off the wall a little bit. And you're going to have 2 children in 2 different world lines, both families thinking they've got an imaginary friend, but actually they're communicating with each other. It's going to talk about immortality, and if our consciousness always chooses the path of least resistance, how do we experience our own deaths? Does anyone really die from their own perspective? We're going to look at all that as we go through. It's currently planned for about 6 novels. So hopefully we'll go there. The first 2 are out already. The third one's coming in the summer.
I love it. I mean, if you love deep sci-fi psychological books, this is definitely. How would you describe yours? I'm actually trying to figure that out.
I describe as a psychological thriller set in the sci-fi genre.
I think that's a great way. That's a great way to pin it.
Yeah.
Adam Guest with Worldlines. Highly recommend that you pick up this book. It is really amazing. And please don't forget to give the book a rating. Amazon, Goodreads, different places that you go. It really makes a big difference. So you can see the book and where to find it and buy it right on the front of the screen here. And we appreciate you being here. Adam, thank you so much for your amazing book, for sharing with us.
Yeah. Thank you.